the top 1%, they earned, I believe it was 30 times more than the rest combined. Essentially, the top people earned way more than the rest. And of those top people, the key that they found with all of them was they wrote their goals on paper. So not just have a loose goal in your mind, this year I want to earn 60, 70K, for instance. That's a loose goal in your mind. You take that same goal to make it more powerful and really absolutely make sure it happens. You take the goal and you pen it down on paper, and you'll find it's more likely to be realized. Realizing your goals is absolutely the key to all success in life. You can have them in your mind loosely, or you can put them down on paper and ensure you realize them. I'm Sean, by the way, and this is Real Talk with Sean. This is a new channel for me. It's about the 8th video. It's probably why I'm here, and I've only just looked at the camera. Sorry about that. It's not that I don't care about you. I do this all because I care. I want to help as many people, touch as many people as I can, As Jim Rohn says, if you can help people, should you? Of course you should. Of course you should. If you can improve yourself, should you? It's a good philosophical question. If you can do more, should you do more? And of course you should. And you're going to do more with these 5 steps on goals. Number 1 is specific. Set a specific destination, a specific goal. So, for instance, I was 21 stone and I wanted to get down to essentially seeing my abs. I didn't need a weight. I didn't need to say 21 stone to 13 or 14 stone. I needed an objective, though, which is I visibly need to see my abs in the mirror. And that was my goal. Get from my current weight to see my abs in the mirror. Now, of course, all of the other routines and rituals and daily occurrences and habitual things that I did to get there is for a different video. But needless to say, I had a specific objective in mind. So whether it's physicality, or whether it's money, financially, whether it's career, whether it's learning, whether it's relationships and social engagements or social situations, to have more confidence when you speak to people socially, for instance, to not give up on a conversation when you slip up, to not feel bad about yourself if you mess your words up. I mess my words up, everybody does. Whatever it is that your objective is and your goal is, you have to be specific. And I would say to you specifically, place the goal on paper. Placing the goal on paper is just another tip within this specific umbrella of the acronym SMART for SMART goals. Placing your goal on paper is more likely to make the goal come true. So SMART, the S was specific. We touched on that just now. Now we're talking about the M, and the M is for measurable. If you can measure it, you can change it. Now, I'm a mathematician. I have applied maths, not pure maths, applied maths. And I worked in the gaming industry and I do a lot of maths. So I know about Euclid. I know about the power of being able to measure anything. If you can measure it, you can change it. Now, that same principle, that philosophy applies to goals, to objectives. You have to be able to measure your progress. If you are unable to measure your progress, how can you expect to get to the destination? You really can't. And I use, in my instance, the same analogy from my own life, my own perspective, my own life story of losing weight, going from 21 stone to 12 stone, essentially going from fat, obese, probably morbidly obese, to in shape, 6-pack, winning transformation competitions, meeting and marrying the woman of my dreams. How did I do that? Because I measured my progress along the way. Now, there's obvious measurements in terms of a weight loss transformation, in terms of body reshaping. There's obvious measurements that come into play. Measurements of your waist. I began and I think I was about 42 in my waist. By the end, I'm 32. So I lost 10 inches off my waist. That's a measurable dynamic, a measurable parameter, a measurable aspect of achieving my goal. That's a measurable element that I can measure, I can track, measuring something, tracking something, comparing something. And I can say I began at 42, my waist size was 42, essentially obese. And along the way, to make sure that my plan is working, my actions are working, I measure my waist 2 months in. It's down to 38, because you're going to lose a lot of weight initially. We're talking about weight, just another uber fact. Wonderful, it's working. I'm measuring my progress. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm not seeing my abs, but I'm measuring my progress. Again, another couple of months, maybe the weight loss isn't as much, and I'm down to 36 waist. But it's still the right direction. And again, another uber fact here, as I'm using myself as the analogy and the protagonist of the analogy. The further you are from your goal, the easier it is in the beginning. So I needed to lose a lot of weight, and I lost a lot of weight in the beginning. The closer you get to your goal, in my case, in my six pack, the harder it's going to become. And the last 10% is the hardest of all. It's also where most people give up. A lot of people do the 90%, but they don't finish strong. They don't finish hard. They don't finish. And it's the finish and the ending is everything. Robert Greene has a fantastic book, and in the the preamble, it's 48 Rules of Power, by the way, but in the preamble, he says the ending is everything. The ending is everything. And really, it is a fabulous sentence to apply to your mind. The ending is everything. What difference does it make if I did 12 months, and I lost, 10, I got down from a size 42 waist to a size 34 waist, but I still couldn't see my abs and I gave up there. And then one day I found myself fat again. What difference does it make about the 12 months that I really took care of my health? I didn't get all the way there. I didn't see my abs. I didn't finish the objective. The objective, the ending, the goal, the completion of the task is the crucial factor. You have to see all the way to the end. And I would say that you do that by measuring, as I say, in the acronym, the SMART goals. You measure all the way through the process so you can make sure you're on track. Another one is realism. And how do we put realism into the SMART objective? We're at A, we're not at R. Well, the A stands for achievable. You have to make sure your goals are achievable. Now, when I went into the workplace, I wanted to have children very early in life. Don't ask me why, but it was an objective of mine. I wanted to have children early in life. I'm now 46 and I have 2 children. I have a granddaughter. So I achieved the objective. But I said to myself, to achieve the objective, children aren't inexpensive. So I'm going to need some coin. I'm going to need some cash. I'm going to need, start earning some money, and some real money. I'm not talking about McDonald's and stuff. No disrespect to people working in McDonald's watching this. I started off stacking shelves in Sainsbury's. That's fine. But to have a family, McDonald's, really? No, you need to go further. You need to aspire higher. So I said, I'm going to use my maths and I'm going to go into the gaming industry. How was I going to do that? It had to be achievable. It couldn't be pie in the sky. And essentially that's what I'm saying here. Your objective can't be pie in the sky. It can't be unrealistic. It must be realistic and it must be achievable. Achievable is the A in the SMART acronym. We had the S, forgive me, for specific, the M for measurable. Now we're on A, and that's achievable. To make your goals achievable, you really have to think. And it requires a lot of painstaking thinking and research. Now, in my instance, I said, what's the best way I can use my maths? Yeah, I can work on the till in McDonald's. Yeah, I can do those things. But I said the gaming industry. Now I'm onto something. They need maths. They need my maths in the count room. They need my maths on the floor. Difficult mathematical equations are coming up on the floor at the roulette table, for instance, the blackjack table. I was going to earn a lot of money in that industry, way more than graduates after 4 or 5 years. Not saying not to go to uni. I went to uni. Everybody should go to uni. But I wanted to have a family from early. And I knew I needed to, up my earning potential. And it wasn't going to be enough to study into the 30s and then slowly do a career. I needed to get money early. So I went into the gaming industry. That was an achievable objective for me. I had the mathematical abilities, but then I needed to find an industry that was going to pay without having the credentials. They just cared that I could do the maths. So do some analysis. The A isn't for an analysis. The A is for achievable. But after your analysis, make sure the goal is achievable. The goal has to be achievable. You have to be able to achieve the objective. Failure to achieve the objective is usually that the objective was unachievable in the beginning. It's a new channel for me, and so many things that I should be doing, like for instance saying like and subscribe here if you've watched this far. There you go, that was Hammy, and there you go, like and subscribe here if you like this video so far. But many of the things I should be doing, like for instance introducing myself. I'm 4 sections into the SMART acronym. Well, I'm on R, I'm on realistic. I'm on relevant, I should say. There you go, look at my paperwork. I'm on relevant, and I haven't introduced myself. So I'm Sean, and this is Real Talk with Sean. If I haven't introduced myself, I'm not sure I have. Real Talk with Sean, and I'm just keeping it real. Your goals on the SMART acronym, they have to be relevant. Why have a goal, for instance, to learn about video editing If you're working in a marketplace to do with fashion and you're literally physically making the product and you have nothing to do with the digital side, you don't work on the platforms that go onto the social media, for instance, learning about editing isn't the same as making the dresses. So you could be in a conversation with someone, for instance, and they're saying they're having so much fun editing videos and they're doing so well with the editing and they're learning so much, and you get inspired and you say, yeah, I want to, learn how to edit videos. But then you have to ask yourself, what's the relevance on editing videos in your life? If you're going to do a sea change and, your career is just going to completely veer from the seamstress, the physical putting the garments together, and it's going to veer into the digital space, absolutely at that point, what you should say is, yeah, learning video editing, that's going to be amazing. That's going to help me. That's going to, I'm going to be in the digital sphere. I need to learn how to edit videos. But if you're in a physical industry, for instance, construction industry, I talked about the fashion industry where you're actually making the garments, you're in that side of the business, there's no relevance. And vice versa, I could be, for instance, a project manager and I'm tasked with doing 45 new units in a countryside environment. The planning permissions came through. What's the relevance of me learning how to do plumbing? The plumber could come in and he could talk about plumbing and it could be wonderful. And he could say to me, when I'm doing plumbing, I could do my own plumbing. I don't have to pay a plumber and all those things. That's wonderful. And I get inspired and I say, I could lose £400 or £500, make £400 or £500 by not having to spend £400 or £500 on a plumber each year. When I step back and I say to myself, let me take a step back. Let me ask myself, I'm a project manager. My task as the overall overseer of the project is to deliver these units. I outsource plumbing to people for a reason, so I don't have to learn it. So this guy's inspired, and I had a conversation with him over, a coffee, and I was inspired. But then the relevance to my position as project manager is actually an irrelevance. Being a project manager doesn't require me to learn plumbing. It requires me to hire a good plumber. So apply relevance every single time. Take a step back. Yes, be inspired. Be inspired by this video. This guy lost, 20 stone. Wow. This guy lost, I don't know, I think it was 9 or 10 stone. 21 stone to 12 stone. There you go. My maths. I'm talking about maths. But anyway, 9 stone. And you're inspired. That should have relevance because your health is crucial. So it's probably not a good analogy, but maybe you'll see me making these videos and you say to yourself, wow, I want to, make YouTube videos. Does it really have relevance on your life? Are you someone that's going to inspire other people through your personal story, or you have information to impart on them that's going to be helpful for them? Do you have the relevant information to help them? Ask yourself that question. Relevance is crucial. And in the SMART acronym, S-M-A-R is for relevance. Are the objectives, the goals that you're aiming to achieve, are they relevant? Relevance is crucial. Make sure you pay attention to it. Okay, and finally, the fifth element of a SMART goal using an acronym. Yes, we touch specific. Yes, we touch relevance. Yes, we touch achievable. Yes, we touch measurable. I did the letters there. There was a bit of a jumble. And the sequencing was off there. But you get my drift, Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound is the fifth one. Time-bound. The T stands for time-bound. There's no help to you in having an open-ended objective, an endless time to achieve something. If you have a task, I believe it's called the Pareto principle. Double check me on this. I got this from Brian Tracy. If you don't know who Brian Tracy is, what have you been doing with your life? Type in Brian Tracy. He's going to help you. Trust me, way more than I can help you. He's helped me, he's helped millions, and he will help you. Read his books, watch his motivational speeches. Brian Tracy, he is the man. That's some real talk for you. Jim Rohn is the man. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the man. The president of the United States, who inspired so many people of color, that a person like Barack Obama, he can go all the way to the top. He is the man. Michelle Obama, she is the woman. She is the boss, of the Obama household. Discursive, and I'm sorry, sometimes in these videos I become discursive, but make your objectives time-bound. You have to have a form of closure. There has to be a circumference of time in which you work in. You cannot just have open-end open-ended objectives and an endless sum of time to achieve something, because you won't achieve it. Having that time restriction, that time frame, that time reference, that hones your mind, that hones your time, so that you achieve the steps that you need to take to achieve your objective, to achieve the goal in the time that you've given yourself, or that you've been given. Your employer, for instance, would say, I need this done by such and such time. There's a time given to you, and you have in that time to achieve the objective. Yeah, you can do a half-assed job and not really achieve the objective. That's real talk for you. Or you can use as much of that time you're given to really achieve that objective. And in really achieving the objective for your employer, you're going to be helping yourself. When they consider promotion, for instance, you're going to be at the forefront of their mind, because you really use that time in the time that you were given to achieve the objective. Likewise for yourself. If you're in a situation where you have a personal goal to improve your physicality, to improve your physical fitness, you're going to learn, because I'm a qualified personal trainer myself. I have a diploma amongst other things. I also have a degree in mathematics applied, many other things in health and safety, and I run a food business too, and in the construction industry, and I have all my qualifications in the construction industry. As you understand these things, the more you learn, the more you earn. And now I'm trying to give my information essentially for free to help others, be a purveyor of information. But if I have a physical objective, or you have a physical objective, it's essential, absolutely critical and crucial that you give yourself a time reference. If you're going to lose weight, for instance, it has to be achievable. We talked about that. It has to be realistic. It has to be relevant also, but it's always going to be relevant. But if you have a weight loss objective, you can't give yourself just for the rest of your life to achieve it. I mean, what's the sense of that? And also, will you ever achieve it? Of course not. Anyone could say, at some point in my life, I'm going to lose this weight. At some point in my life. Those people never lose that weight. The people that lose the weight, that say, you know what, the start of this year, my resolve, my resolution is by the end of this year, I've lost the timber, I've lost the love handles, I've lost the belly fat. By the end of this year, they give themselves a time stamp, a time reference, a timeline. That timeline that they journey along. The end of the timeline is the objective. The beginning of the timeline is where they begin. That timeline. That helps them. It helps them massively to be enshrined in time and have to work within the bounds of the timeline that you've given yourself. You're way more likely to achieve the objective than just being open-ended and saying, at some point in my life, I'll get around to, losing all the excess weight. At some point in my life, I'll get around to learning that new language. At some point in my life, I'll get around to starting that YouTube channel, or going out there and being social and meeting the woman of my dreams. At some point. As Jim Rohn, I believe it was Brian Tracy, says, is someday I'll. That place does not exist. Someday I'll. Move away from the aisle. Move away from someday island. Do it now. Do it now. Put a timeline on it. Put a time reference on it. So the T in SMART is for time. So you need to make your goals specific. You need to make them measurable. You need to make them achievable. You need to make them relevant. You need to make them time bound. You need to do those things to be successful. An aimless, endless goal is not going to work. If it's not achievable, it's not going to work. An unrealistic goal, of course it's not going to work. I could say, I want to be a billionaire by next year. It's unrealistic. I could say I want to be financially comfortable, go on 5 or 6 holidays next year and have a new car and have a new house. Those things are realistic. If you have a specific goal in the beginning, you're you're more likely to achieve the goal. Whereas if you have no goal, if you just say, I'm going to go out into the workplace and I don't even know what I want to, you don't know what you want to earn. You don't know what your income's going to be. You don't know what your salary expectations are. Well, of course, you're just going to get any old job, and that any old job's not going to pay too much. Whereas if you go into the workplace and you have a salary expectation, you have an expectation of what you're going to bring to the marketplace and what you expect in compensation, I guarantee you're going to end up getting that salary figure, that amount, that sum of money, that remuneration, that compensation, because it was your specific, as per the S in the SMART, an acronym. I think that's Delboy from Only Fools and Horses, an acronym. Anyway, in the acronym SMART, the S is for specific. Having an income expectation from the beginning will ensure you achieve the income. Likewise, on a health journey, giving yourself a year to achieve it will really focus your attention on doing the health journey in the year, as opposed to it just being open-ended and you get round to losing the weight whenever you get round to it. And of course, you never lose the weight because you never get round to it, because there's no time reference. So apply SMART to your goals and you're far more likely to achieve your goals. Real Talk with Sean. I don't know how many videos I've done now, but I'm starting to find my feet a little bit. Thank you for watching. If you subscribe, that's amazing. If you haven't, please subscribe. That's going to help me make more videos. If I make more videos and I help more people, as I've helped you, that's a good thing. You've, in a vicarious way, you've helped them by subscribing to my channel after this video, liking this video, dropping a comment on this video. You tell the algorithm you're engaging. You know, this video is good. I like this video. This guy's real. He's genuine. He's sincere. Anyone else I help in future, in a small way, the butterfly effect way, you have helped them too. Your subscription has helped them. Thanks for watching. Watch this video here. It's a video on public speaking.